In the abandoned collection, which I'm currently working on, I'm really trying to highlight modern consumerism. You know, today it seems like everything we own is not good enough. The car we drive, the new model comes out, so we upgrade. The holiday home that we used to have is no longer big enough, or is not in the right place, so we upgrade. And so with everything, we tend to push what was fine yesterday aside. Well, I'm on the lookout for these subjects. The orphan, or elderly if you like. The subjects that are no longer good enough. I want to highlight their character, and I want to put them in the spotlight once again. During my travels, I'm always on the lookout for subjects that would work in this collection. And recently, on a trip to the Peru, while doing some landscape photography, I spotted this beautiful house down in the valley. It wasn't too far from the main road, and as I approached, I realized that this house is completely abandoned. I was so excited. The light was great that morning, and there was a little bit of cloud cover to assist. And over the years that this house had stood unattended, the walls in the front had broken down, and it had got some beautiful character. Just what I was looking for. I have exhibited in London in, I think it was 2007, and then it was also exhibited in Montreal a year later. For the last 6 years they've been on permanent exhibition in my own gallery in Cape Town. They are limited edition prints. I've limited them to 35 copies of each, and that is 35 copies regardless of size. They are fully archival prints, they are signed, and they are also embossed. And I also issue a certificate of authenticity with every purchase. A few days later, the weather had changed completely. Cold front had moved in from the south, bringing with it some heavy cloud cover and some much needed rain for the area. I'm heading off to a little hut that I had spotted a while back. It's situated on a farmer's land, and it's perched on top of a little hill. And I think against this sky that is building, it's going to photograph really well. I've already asked the farmer for permission to enter the property, and I'm very excited to see what this is going to look like. The great Ansel Adams said that the difference between a good composition and a great composition is really just knowing where to stand. And I think that's probably the most difficult thing about this particular shot, is finding the correct vantage point. Another thing I think that's quite important to understand behind this series, and maybe behind the principles of how I photograph, is that I will try not to revisit the same location twice. So in other words, if on a day the subject's right, the weather's right, the mood is right, I will photograph it knowing that I will not be returning to that location. That just helps me, or puts me in the right space to understand that there's no compromise. So I've got to find the best positive point, and I've got to shoot it to the best of my ability, because once it has been captured, then it is ticked off and I will not be revisiting that location. I've chosen to photograph this collection under heavy weather conditions, so in this cloud cover, or sort of early or late afternoon light, with a little bit of mood in it. I think that really suits the character of these subjects. I suppose in a way that's proved to be the frustrating part behind the project, is simply that it's one thing finding the right subject, but it's another thing finding the right subject which happens to be in the right light, which happens to have the correct mood on the day that you're actually there. So for me, I've had to walk away from a number of subjects purely because I just don't have the time to wait for the weather. But I think that also makes it very special when you do capture a photograph. I like to capture it naturally the way it is, so I don't like to then to edit in anything that shouldn't be there. No, it doesn't look like it, but man, it's cold. And again, without this type of weather, you just don't get this sort of mood and this sort of photography. So that's just the way it is. I've been shooting for the abandoned collection now for the last 8 to 10 years. In that time I have just over 32 photographs to show for it. And I know it doesn't seem like a lot, and it isn't, but I guess one has to understand that the way I approached this project from day one was not to purposely go out looking for these subjects, because my fear was that that could make it all too predictable too quickly. So I decided that I would rather let the subjects come to me, if you like. So in my normal travels, doing my normal photography, I'm always on the lookout for these subjects, and when they come along, they're very special, and they feel like they were meant to be. And I guess that's what's kept it so fresh and so interesting for me, and long may that continue. What is very exciting is that we've just announced that we're going to be launching the first publication of a coffee table book in this collection. The book itself is not just going to be a celebration of the photographs, but it's also going to feature some of the background stories as well as some poetry. And I think what's really important is that I don't just want it to be almost the end of the abandoned. I don't want the book to be the conclusion of this series. I'd like to see this as a first release, and then to continue. Yeah. So to answer your question, where to from here? I guess here's to the next 10 years of abandoned photography. I hope you enjoy.